The punishment of Palamedes, the genius betrayed. The gods weave fate like an intricate tapestry, their threads of destiny filled with triumph and tragedy. Among the mortals ensnared in this divine design was Palamedes, son of Nauplius, a prince of Euboea and a man of unrivaled intellect. His brilliance was a gift and a curse, for while wisdom may illuminate the path of men, it also stirs the envy of lesser souls. And no man's envy burned hotter than that of Odysseus, the cunning king of Ithaca. Palamedes' tale begins long before his tragic fall, in the days when the Greek kings gathered their armies to sail for Troy. When Agamemnon, high king of Mycenae, called for warriors to retrieve Helen, stolen away by Paris of Troy, Odysseus sought to evade the summons. With his firstborn Telemachus newly in his arms, Odysseus feigned madness, plowing the fields of Ithaca with an ox and a donkey yoked together, sowing salt in place of grain. The ruse would have worked had it not been for Palamedes. The prince of Euboea, seeing through Odysseus' deception, took the infant Telemachus and placed him before the plow's blade. A truly madman would have plowed through without hesitation, but Odysseus, revealing his sanity, swerved, sparing his son and exposing his lie. Thus he was forced to join the Greek cause, but he never forgot nor forgave Palamedes. For years, Palamedes served the Greek camp with unmatched ingenuity. It was he who improved their tactics, devised their signaling systems, and introduced letters and numbers to organize their ranks. He devised the first system of coded messages, allowing the Greeks to coordinate their attacks and defenses with unparalleled precision. He introduced new methods of rationing food, ensuring that the supplies lasted through the prolonged siege of Troy. He even created games to entertain and keep the soldiers sharp, including early forms of chess and dice, which would be remembered long after his passing. But his wisdom only deepened Odysseus' resentment, for the son of Laertes could not stand the shadow of another's intellect. Palamedes' brilliance, his honesty, his unshakable loyalty to truth, all were thorns in the side of a man who thrived on guile and deception. And so Odysseus plotted his vengeance. He whispered into Agamemnon's ear, sowing seeds of doubt about Palamedes' loyalty. With the war dragging on and morale waning, suspicions spread like wildfire and Odysseus seized his moment. He set in motion a scheme as ruthless as it was insidious. He bribed a Trojan prisoner to compose a false letter, purportedly from King Priam of Troy, addressed to the Euboean prince. The letter, written in Priam's hand, thanked Palamedes for his treachery and promised him wealth beyond imagining should he betray the Greeks. One night, under the cover of darkness, Odysseus buried gold beneath Palamedes' tent and slipped the forged letter into his belongings. Then at dawn he feigned discovery, leading a search party to the unsuspecting man's quarters. The gold was unearthed and the letter revealed to the Council of Kings. It was undeniable proof, or so it seemed. The Greeks, exhausted by the long war and desperate for a traitor to blame, were quick to condemn him. Palamedes protested, pleading his innocence. He called for reason, for a trial, for justice. But the Greek kings, weary of war and eager for a scapegoat, saw only the weight of gold and the ink upon the parchment. He spoke eloquently of his unwavering service, of the many ways he had benefited the war effort, but his words fell upon deaf ears. His contributions had been forgotten in the face of treachery so convincingly framed. By Agamemnon's decree, Palamedes was condemned to death. Some say he was stoned to death by his fellow Greeks, their hands turned against a man who had once been their greatest ally. Others say he was drowned, a millstone tied around his neck and cast into the sea. Another account claims that Odysseus and Diomedes lured him to a well under false pretenses and crushed him beneath a rockslide. Regardless of the method, his end was bitter, undeserved, and cruel. Yet fate would not let the treachery of Odysseus go unanswered. When Nauplius, Palamedes' grieving father, learned of his son's fate, he swore vengeance. Sailing to the Greek kingdoms, he spread rumors of the soldiers' infidelities, inciting their abandoned wives to take lovers in their absence. When the Greeks finally returned from Troy, many found their homes shattered, their honor stained, their legacy undone. Nauplius himself stood upon the cliffs of Euboea, lighting false beacon fires that led many Greek ships to their doom upon the rocks. As for Odysseus, the gods did not forget his crime. His long and torturous journey home, fraught with shipwrecks, monsters, and divine wrath, was but the retribution of an intellect wronged. The sea, the gods, and fate itself conspired to punish the king of Ithaca, ensuring that the shadow of Palamedes lingered over his suffering. The cunning man who had orchestrated his rival's demise was now fated to wander, to suffer, to be tormented by forces beyond his control. Thus, the name of Palamedes was cast among the stars, not as a traitor but as a warning, a beacon of brilliance undone by jealousy and deceit. His fate was cruel, but his legacy, like the wisdom he bestowed upon mankind, could not be erased. His name lives on in the annals of history, a tragic reminder that even the brightest minds can fall to the darkness of envy and treachery. And in the whispers of scholars and philosophers who still tell his story, Palamedes remains immortal.